What happens when a Hollywood legend's redemption story is challenged by a voice from the shadows? Seattle hums with an eclectic pulse, a city of misty waterfronts, coffee shops buzzing with laptops, and the faint strums of buskers echoing through Pike Place Market. On a drizzly autumn evening, the top floor of the Soundwave studio, a sleek glass building downtown, crackles with anticipation. The space is warm, lit by soft Edison bulbs, with exposed brick walls and the rich aroma of espresso lingering from a nearby machine. Microphones gleam on a polished table and a small live audience. Recovery advocates, donors, and fans sits wrapped, their faces glowing in the studio's ambient light. At the center is Robert Downey Jr., 60, his tailored sweater casual but sharp, his salt and pepper hair catching the light, his grin a mix of Tony Stark swagger and hard-earned wisdom. He's hosting a live Legacy Voices podcast, his charity's platform to share stories of recovery and resilience. Tonight featuring guests who've overcome addiction. But what starts as a night of inspiration turns raw when a caller rips through his narrative. Can a single voice shift a star's mission? Have you ever been forced to rethink your story? Stay with me. This is where it gets real. The studio pulses with energy, the audience sipping coffee, their whispers mingling with the hum of recording equipment. Downey's Legacy Voices has amplified voices from veterans to foster kids. But this podcast series, focused on addiction recovery, is personal. His own journey, decades of substance abuse, arrest, and triumphant comeback, fuels his drive to destigmatize recovery. Susan, his wife, texts from L.A. Asterisk be real, Robert. Let their stories lead. Asterisk, he nods, adjusting his headset, determined to keep the focus on his guests. A nurse who rebuilt her life after opioid addiction and a veteran who found sobriety through art. His team, producer Lena, sound tech Marcus, and a few aides, monitors the live stream, ensuring the broadcast reaches thousands online. Downey leans into the mic, his voice warm, conversational. Welcome to Legacy Voices, folks. Tonight, we're diving into recovery, raw, real, and redemptive. It's not about the fall, it's about the rise. Our guests are living proof. The audience claps, the stream's chat buzzing with heart emojis. He introduces a nurse who shares a story of losing her job but finding purpose. Then the veteran whose paintings line the studio walls. Downey listens, his nods genuine, his quips light but respectful. You're both heroes, he says, turning pain into power. The audience murmurs agreement, but the mood shifts when Lena signals a caller on the line, a feature for live listener stories. All right, we've got a caller, Downey says, his grin wide. Let's hear your voice. Who's this? The line crackles and a woman's voice, rough but steady, fills the studio. This is Carla from Tacoma. I'm 10 years sober, but I gotta say something, Mr. Downey. Her tone is sharp, and Downey's eyes flicker. Something's coming. Lay it on me, Carla, he says, keeping it light. She doesn't hesitate. You talk about recovery like it's a Hollywood script. Fall, fight, win, repeat. Your story's inspiring, sure, but you're a star now. You had money, lawyers, a comeback. Most of us don't. You're selling hope, but what about the ones still stuck, scraping by with no spotlight? The studio falls silent, the audience frozen, the chat exploding with shocked emojis. Lena tenses, ready to cut the call, but Downey waves her off, his grin fading. That's a gut punch, Carla, he says, his voice quieter, raw. You're saying I'm out of touch? Carla's voice hardens. I'm saying you make it look easy, like we all get an Oscar for surviving. I'm sober, but I'm broke, working 2 jobs, no safety net. Your Legacy Voices is great, but it's your face on the posters. Is this about us or your redemption glow up? The audience gasps, a donor shifts uncomfortably, and Marcus whispers to security, bracing for fallout. Downey's chest tightens. He's faced tabloids, relapses, even prison, but this, a caller stripping his narrative bare on live air, cuts deep. He could deflect with charm, pivot to the guests, but Carla's truth demands more. You're not wrong, he says, leaning into the mic, his voice steady but vulnerable. I've got privilege now, big time. I clawed out of my hole with help most don't get. Maybe I've been leaning too hard on my story, thinking it speaks for everyone. That's on me. The audience murmurs, surprised by his candor. Carla pauses, her tone softening. I ain't mad, just tired. We need more than stories. We need real help, jobs, housing, programs that don't just make you feel good. The studio feels electric, the chat flooding with support for Carla's honesty. Downey runs a hand through his hair, his wit giving way to resolve. I hear you, he says, his voice firm. Let's make it real. Legacy Voices is launching a recovery fund, grants for housing, job training, community-led programs. Carla, I want you on the advisory board. You tell us what works. No Hollywood polish, just results. The audience gasps, then claps, the chat erupting with fire emojis. Carla hesitates, then says, All right, I'm in, but you better mean it. Downey grins, a spark in his eyes. Oh, I mean it. You're keeping me honest. He turns to the audience, his charisma surging but humbler. This is bigger than me, folks. Carla's voice is the real deal, raw, fierce, true. Let's raise $4 million tonight for this fund. Support, empower, rebuild. Who's with us? The crowd roars, donors pledging, phones buzzing with donations. Lena amplifies the stream, Marcus cheers, and Susan, watching online, texts, That's my guy. The guests nod, inspired, sharing ideas for community programs. Carla stays on the line, brainstorming with Downey, her voice now a partner, not a challenger. The podcast wraps in a whirlwind, the studio alive with purpose. The audience lingers, sharing recovery stories, inspired by Carla's courage. Downey pulls Lena aside, his grin genuine. She shook me, he says. Good. Keep it grounded. Lena smiles. You too, boss. The crowd spills into the Seattle night, the drizzle glittering under streetlights, conversations buzzing about change. Downey feels Carla's words linger, a mirror to his blind spots. He's still a star, but tonight he's learned to listen, to share the mic, not own it. By morning, Seattle wakes to viral clips of the exchange, headlines screaming. Caller challenges our DJ on live podcast, sparks recovery revolution. Hashtag Carla's voice trends, with post praiser of fire and Downey's response. Legacy Voices announces a recovery fund, with Carla and peers shaping grants for housing, training, and peer-led support. Donations soar past $4 million, fueled by the viral moment. Downey, at a waterfront cafe, scrolls through the buzz, sipping coffee, Susan on FaceTime. She got under your skin, Susan says, teasing. Yeah, Downey replies, softer. Show me my stories, just one piece. Time to lift theirs. He tweets, Asterisk Carla's a real hero. Legacy Voices is hers now. Let's rebuild lives. Hashtag Carla's voice. Asterisk the post explodes, comments flooding. Some inspired, some skeptical, all engaged. In Tacoma, Carla joins a fun meeting via Zoom, sketching plans. Her voice now a beacon. A man in Spokane sees a clip, joins a Legacy Voices support group. His story finding a home, a donor-funded recovery center, inspired by the viral call. Downey watches the ripples, his wit tempered by humility. He's still the comeback king, but Carla's truth has recalibrated his mission. Not a reinvention, but a vow to amplify the voiceless. What's your voice worth amplifying? Have you ever been challenged to rethink your impact? Hit that subscribe button for timeless tales to catch more stories that ignite change and stir the soul. Drop your thoughts below. Would you call out Downey like Carla or held back? Can one call spark a movement? Like, share and let's keep this fire alive. Your story could be the next wave.